Hi, welcome to Lovin Sheila, the podcast. I'm not going to be with you long today, but I do want to talk to you about the distinction between emotionally unavailable and healed. You might wonder why I say, what's the distinction? The reason I say that is I'll use a pastor that I went to as my bishop, and he said, sometimes you're so holy that you're no earthly good. And sometimes I feel that we can be so healed that we're no earthly good. We're not fellowshipping, we're not involved, we're not putting ourselves out there. We're just like in a cocoon by ourselves, saying how healed we are and how we won't do that and how we have boundaries. Now, don't get me wrong. We absolutely should have boundaries. We absolutely should have standards. Absolutely. But I'm saying after we have done the work and we are healed, we have to understand the difference now between us being healed and ready versus us being emotionally unavailable because we're not willing to have the experience or put ourselves out there for the experience that might not end the way we want. We want it to be a fairy tale and it may not. And so to protect ourselves from the potential of it not being a fairy tale, we choose not to get in the race. And so I want to challenge us. Like some of us, I know, some of us have it all figured out. We don't learn through trial and error like myself. We don't have major blunders and we do everything right. We date right. And then there's some of us like me who have some challenges and who sometimes learn the hard way and sometimes let the wrong people in and sometimes don't let the right people in, and sometimes it gets all convoluted. And the reason I speak on this is because I've experienced it. I have walked the tightrope of healed versus emotionally unavailable. And I believe that sometimes it disguises itself as healing. Yeah, I'll say that again. Sometimes being emotionally unavailable disguises itself as healing. Because when we're healed, we're not going to go through that again, and we're not going to deal with this again, and no one's going to get that close. They can never hurt me again. That's not healed. That is unavailable for love. It is not putting our hearts on the table. And when we are healed, when we have done the work, I'm going to liken it to sports. Sometimes an athlete is on IR. They are not available to participate in whatever sport they're in because they are injured. During this time, they're rehabilitating, doing what they need to do to be strengthened so that they can return. So likewise, when we're doing the work, we're doing what we need to do so we can be rehabilitated, so we can return. Not so we can rehabilitate and sit in a corner somewhere. So we can return to action, because life is for living. And God gave us a husband. It's ordained by God. God gave us a wife. It's nothing wrong with those things. So we're not rehabilitating so we can go and sit down somewhere. We're rehabilitating so we can get back in the game and to live our life. Now, when you get back in the game, you might have a minutes restriction. They may say you're only going to play this long. We're going to ease you back into it. And likewise, becoming emotionally available, you may have to ease into it. You may not just jump into it and tomorrow you're in a lifelong relationship. You may have to take your time. And I advise all of us to take our time. I devised this 4-month rule, which I thought would give me time to see this person in different situations. And, when we're disappointed, when we might be angry, when we have conflict, I get to see this person and how they behave, get past any potential love bombing, because that does happen, and I'm certainly here for it. So I have to put parameters up to protect myself, of course. And so taking my time is part of that. Yes, absolutely. You may come back with a minutes restriction. Nothing wrong with that. But the purpose, I would say, of your rehabilitation is to get back in the game and to make sure that your heart is available. I know that a lot of us have been heartbroken. We've been hurt. We've been disappointed. That's life. If when you go to work, you're hurt sometimes and you're disappointed. When you walk down the street, when you drive your car, you're hurt. You're disappointed at the way people are moving. So likewise, in relationships, you might get hurt. You might be disappointed, but you'll never know if you don't give yourself an opportunity if you don't put yourself out there. Interestingly, I recall someone telling me when I was emotionally unavailable, he said to me, you don't put yourself out there. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm here with you right now. We're on a date. We've been going out. And I really did not understand it. But just being physically present does not necessarily mean that you are emotionally available. Doesn't mean that you don't have guards up to protect yourself, to prevent anything from repeating itself. I think it takes some sitting with ourselves and some really good self-awareness to distinguish and to discern if we are being emotionally unavailable or if we are healed. Because when we're healed, I think we want to move into emotionally available. And I want to make sure that we are not confusing the two. When we have our boundaries and everything's set up to no one can get to us, no one can hurt us, they're not going to get the opportunity. If I never meet another man, then that's fine with me. That might not necessarily be healed. I'm not saying it can't be healed, but it's not really emotionally available, not willing to put ourselves out there to try again. In life, I think we want to be resilient, we want to be strong, we want to be tenacious, and that goes in relationships too. If we protect ourselves, if we never get involved, if we never give ourselves an opportunity to find love, if we never put our hearts on the table, we can rest assured that we will not find that. So I want to encourage us, once we've done the healing, once we've done the work, to make yourself available emotionally. Check in with yourself and make sure that you're doing the things that create an environment where you can jump in. And I understand jumping in is scary. I get it. And it's not always safe. And that's why we give ourselves time. Like I said, I give myself 4 months because we want to make sure before we jump in that it's safe. We don't want to jump into water that's 1 foot. I mean, we will hurt ourselves if we do that. We can't dive into that. So you have to spend some time and be discerning, but you'll never do that if you don't open up and allow some interaction. Allow yourself to entertain and get to know people. So that's what I want to encourage you all to do. That's what I have sat with myself and tried to get to the point where I called myself out. It's, sometimes I had to say, that's baloney. Sheila, you are full of it. So, have some self-awareness. Know when you're on the level and when some things are not quite adding up. And let's not disguise emotional unavailability with healed, because I know there's a fine line and I know we can walk that tightrope, but let's really be discerning and let's really move forward in our healing. And as we heal, we can open up and we can be seen, and the scab goes away and our beauty comes out. Like the Bible says, it'll give you beauty for ashes. Okay, so you may have some scabs, you may have some pain, but there's some beauty that can come in the end if you lean in and do the work towards your healing and reopen yourself up to the possibilities of love. Thank you for watching. This was just a short little tidbit because I love talking about relationships. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite topic for the podcast, and even in conversation. I find it very interesting, and it gives us a chance to know ourselves better because we really get to see ourselves when we are in relationship. When I'm sitting here by myself and I don't have to engage or resolve conflict or anything else with anybody because I do exactly what I want to do, I'm not really learning me. But when I have to engage with someone and I have to resolve conflict and I have to ask myself if this is something I really want to do, then I become more available and I can walk in my healing and I can exercise my healing as I relate to others. And so that's what I want to encourage us to do. I'm still manifesting this. I'm still fleshing it out. I don't have it all together, but I know that it was important for me to understand that I had conflated emotional unavailability with healed, and I don't want that for any of you. So I thought I would share that with you. That's all I have for you today. I hope this encouraged you in some way, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you on the next Lovin Sheila. Bye for now.